before, and I want to thank all of you for your food. Oh my gosh, it was so good. I am quarter Polish, and they had so many pierogies there, and I was like, why am I here for breakfast?
I was just telling James and Oliver Phelps that we were talking about pierogi and all the different kinds that they have. I said you can get buffalo chicken stuffed inside of a pierogi. It's amazing.
They had cannolis with buffalo chicken. So if you're a buffalo chicken fan, get down to the West Side Market.
Sweet and salty.
Listen, you can have all the you can have sweet buffalo, whatever. You'll have anything in your mouth you want. Not a commercial. No, it was great. I had great. I mean, I was, part of the reason I love doing cons is I get to go to so many places in the U.S. that I've never been before, and I get to eat my way through them. People are like, "What did you see?" I'm like, "See, what did I eat?" And then I go home and I'm like, "You weren't supposed to have gluten." Whatever.
Besides Cleveland.
What?
No rules on vacation.
There's no rules. It's right.
No calories.
A very sleazy extra on a movie told me what happens in the zip code stays in the zip code. And I was like, because I was really stupid back then. And then I realized, I'm like, oh, that guy was gross. But now I realize if you apply it to food, yeah.
Has there been a favorite meal that you have gone back to that city and you're like, I have to get that again?
Oh man, well everybody knows when you go to a restaurant, the first time you go, you're establishing your pattern for life. All right? And so you're never going to go to that restaurant and be like, I'm going to try the fettuccine when the gnocchi was incredible, right? You're just not going to. You're a fool. So I would say, I'm just a food hall junkie. So whenever there's a food hall, oh wow. When I go to Seattle, I always have to go to the original Starbucks, although they're closing it, I hear.
Really?
Yeah, it's weird. Why do I do that? I don't know. Whenever I see a biscuit, I'll have a biscuit. Because I'm from Alabama, and so when I get into a biscuit area, I'm like, give me the biscuits.
Are you definitely comparing biscuits going, this one's too dry?
The thing about biscuits is they're always good.
Yeah.
Generally, I've had bad biscuit, but once you smother it in butter and honey enough, like every biscuit, it's just a honey butter vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, no, I rarely go, when I travel so much, I try to go to different places every time, and so I've been to Columbus, Cleveland, and Cincinnati, all the C's. You guys have a lot of C's in Ohio, right? And not in an insulting way. Yeah, so it's funny how even in just a state, you have such different vibes and stuff. Like Cincinnati, they like to put chili, on spaghetti, and I'm like, that's disgusting. Yeah. You don't like that? No, you're like, we're not playing like that.
The rest of us
Cleveland,
are
you
like
don't do such travesty. No, it's really. Are you from here?
I am Ohio baby. Yeah,
Ohio
born and
baby.
raised.
Oh, that's great.
I love it here. I'm like, we don't have to deal with a poisonous snake biting me on the way out of the door.
What's that? Has that happened in another what?
Another city. I was like, I just feel like there's no.
What other city has that happened?
That I have to worry about.
Okay, Florida.
We really have no worries here. Our biggest worry is the Browns. And maybe some gloom. We might not get as many sunny.
Well, I will say I got on the plane and it was 75 and beautiful in Los Angeles. And when I got off the plane at like 9 p.m. at night on Thursday, there was a snowflake and I was horrified. I was resentful. I was like, who told me to do? Who should have warned me?
Did you bring a jacket?
I did bring a jacket. I did bring one because I looked briefly at the weather and you guys, it was 70 earlier last week.
It was.
So I was kind of, what? Yeah. You're sorry it was 70 or you're sorry you ruined it?
Welcome to Cleveland.
Well, I'm from Austin where it was literally 94 last week and then it dropped to 45 in 2 days. And I feel like that's just, the same thing happens here?
Yeah.
See, I'll tell you, Los Angeles is a little depressing. I've told this a couple people. It's a little depressing now because Hollywood is really messed up. Streaming ruined everything. And fires decimated our city, right? So it's really depressing there right now. And I always am like traveling the world thinking where else would I live? And then I look out the window and I'm like, it's 75 throughout the year. I don't have to deal with those nasty seasons. Yes, it's expensive, but weather. So I really don't know where else I want to live because I'll pay a premium on the weather because you guys have to deal with coats. I don't like it. Okay, it's heavy.
You see, and I think that the gloomy days really make me appreciate the sunny ones here in Cleveland.
Okay.
And I'm like, wow, it's so beautiful here, and that's when you're, to me, you can't have the good days without the bad.
Oh, I want all good. I get so depressed. I don't know, seasonal affective disorder or something like that. You have to get a special light. My brother actually has a special light that he uses to combat it. And I'm like, I combat it by paying $20 for a burger, okay?
It's getting to be that expensive around here too. If you want a
Yeah.
gourmet burger, a lot of places are between that $15 and $20 range now.
I know,
That's
I
the new
know.
thing.
And then I was in Krakow. I went to Poland because I have family there. I discovered after my grandmother passed away. I'm quarter Polish. I went there and I found my mother's second cousin. I met them, and that was fine. But the food, the food, you could get a huge cup of pierogi for like $2.
Wow.
I ate pierogi like the whole, like it was like mid-meal pierogi. Like it was like a brunch pierogi between breakfast and lunch. Needless to say, I did need to work out when I came home, but I loved it. So yeah, when you go to another country, you're like, oh, the relative. But again, it was cold there.
Yeah.
I had to wear a sweater and a coat. It was bad. So listen, we trade off and we live where we need to live, and yeah, it's good. But what I love, again, it's just discovering the United States. Like every state has a different flavor, every city has a different vibe, and you know, it's a beautiful country. Yeah, I love my country.
And overseas, they can visit so many different places, and they're like, well, I'm
Yeah.
in a new country right now.
Yeah, but
and
listen,
here,
yeah.
that's us in the United States. We have so much variety.
So much variety.
That you're really kind of in a different country when you go to Alabama.
Somebody told me they were from Buffalo at my table earlier, and I was like, that's far, and it wasn't that far. And I was like, wait, New York isn't far? Because I've never lived on the East Coast. It's just not, I've never done it, and I lived in the South and the West. And so like the idea that you can get to another state in an hour is kind of like, I've never been north of Boston. Like what's up there? Who knows? I'll get there one day. Yeah, I mean, Comic-Con, Maine. Get me up there.
Well, you have been in some of our favorite fandoms. For me, Ghoulia Yelps in Monster High.
Oh, yes,
Amazing.
thank you. I love
Amazing.
doing that part.
Poppy Klein and the Magicians. If you haven't watched The Magicians, I read the books. I read the books, love them.
Can you believe that my character, spoiler alert, was the queen in the books, but in the show, I did not get to be the queen, and I was pissed off.
Still, I wish they would have kept going with that.
It's okay. The lead actor quit the series, yeah. So then that kind of threw a wrench in the works, but it was still an amazing. And the funny thing was, people don't know this, but Sarah Gamble, who was showrunner on Magicians, who hired me on Magicians, also hired me on Supernatural. She was the showrunner when Charlie was written and got me to get on the show. She actually, Robbie Thompson, the writer who mainly wrote my character and invented my character, he basically wrote himself and then named her Charlie. And he was like, he wrote it for a Felecia Day type. And Sarah was the one who was like, should we try to get Felecia Day? And he was like, you can do that? Thank God. Because if some other lady played Charlie, I would beat her up. It's my character.
It's kind of like Betty in Adventure Time.
Yes,
and
I did that one.
Cake.
Yep.
That character reminds me so much of you. I mean, the
Thank
fact
you.
that it's just such a great combination of who you are.
But
in
the
real
first
life.
2 episodes I didn't do, it was Lena Dunham. And so when people Google Betty, Adventure Time, it goes to a Wikipedia entry on the first episode that introduced Betty, where Lena Dunham played it. So people don't actually know that I did almost all the episodes except for those first 2. If you work for Wikipedia, fix it. Because it pisses me off. She did a great job. Yeah, I know, but it should be clear that the character, there should be a Wikipedia entry on the character, not just the episode, and I need all the credit.
You did a great job.
Thank
I
you.
loved it.
It was beautifully written. My part in Fiona and Kate was probably, I've cried 3 times I've cried when I got material. In Dr. Horrible, when Penny, spoiler alert, thank you so much. Guild Wars 2, I did a DLC last year. The writing was so good I cried. And then the Fiona and Kate, when I was reading Betty and the Ice King. It's just beautiful. That love story was so beautiful. So,
What's it like doing film TV versus animation voices? What are the differences and what are the similarities? What are the things that share?
They don't share a lot except you're acting and pretend you're somebody else. I learned this the hard way. I got offered a lot of video game roles early in my career because I did the Guild, and people were like, oh, she's cool, let's give her a part. And I wasn't really as polished as I could have been in voice acting because it's completely different from on-camera acting. And so the journey from starting that and then being determined to get better at it and train myself and do more and more of it and get better and better and better has been a big journey and something I'm really proud of because voice acting is so rewarding and fun, and you can do it from your house and don't have to do your hair, which is always a bonus for me. And also you can be something very different from yourself, which you can't really do on camera. But on camera acting is just, you're using your whole body. You can convey things with a look versus just your voice. And so it's a very different tool set you use on camera. And I enjoy both of them. I really love doing both. It's just different skills. And you have to appreciate how different they are when you're training and when you're doing it. Otherwise, I think we've all probably heard an on-camera actor doing, like a famous on-camera actor doing a voice, and it's like, well, that was fine. But like a professional voiceover actor would have brought a lot more nuance. And I think that's something, because you only have your voice to convey all feeling and emotion, and if there's a look, it's the director putting it in, not you. And so you're in charge of your voice. Versus, I've had, especially on the Guild when I was editing, I will steal a look of somebody before we're even rolling and use it in there because it was like, oh, that's the piece of reaction that I want, even though they didn't do it in the place they thought it would, So, it's, I love performing, and in this day and age, you can do a little bit of everything, and that's what I love.
When I first started working in radio, somebody had told me, you can hear a smile, and if you're not smiling when you're talking, we can tell.
Yeah, no, you can, 100%. And I think watching your work back, and listening to it, when I audition for something, voiceover-wise, a couple times a week, right? And I'm the one who's recording it, I'm listening to it back, and I'm trying to determine, is this the audition that I want to give, right? Same thing with on camera too. It's a little harder to be objective, but I've gotten there because I edit all my stuff, for the internet a lot. So I'm like, oh, is this what I would want to give them? And this is my best performance. And if they hire me, would I be having fun doing this performance? And you get really not critical, but you get what you want to be, and it helps you define yourself as a performer, which I think is great. Some people are like, I don't want to see myself on screen. I'm like, show me, because I know I can do better if I see it.
You're a visual learner, probably.
Yeah.
Do you record at home in a studio? Do you have a studio set up, or are you in the closet underneath a blanket?
No, I have a whole studio in the corner. If you guys, have anybody seen me on Twitch streaming video games? Yeah, just a couple people? Yeah, I stream twice a week, thank you. We have a wonderful community there, so if you want to watch me play some video games, I do it Monday and Friday afternoons usually. And I love doing it. So there's a little, if you see, I have like a bookshelf of awesome books and games and toys and all sort of board games. And then in the corner I have a professional booth set up. So sometimes I'll record actual animation from there.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they want you to come in and record. Since COVID, I haven't done any recording in person with other actors stuff, because they're just, we've gotten out of the habit. So, if I've done, somebody's like, hey, how was it working with William Shatner on My Little Pony? I was like, I don't know. We recorded probably weeks apart, But, it's really a testament to the writing and also the editors and the directors that they know how to put the voices together so they match when you cut them together.
Yeah. You're talking about your Twitch streaming, and I know you're a big video game. What console's your favorite, and what game are you currently on? Because it's hard to pick a favorite sometime of games.
No, I can't pick a favorite. That's crazy. It's like, I only have one child, so she's my favorite child. Okay, I'll do that. Well, first of all, the console I play the most, I play PC, so not a console, but I play PC games because it's easiest to stream. I do have a PS5, but I think my daughter's going to want me to move that into the front of the house because we've been playing, Switch games for years. But now she wants to play some that aren't on Switch that she accidentally got exposed to when I took her to a friend's video game studio, and now she's like, Mom, I want to play that game. I'm like, it's not, all right, I'll get you a gaming PC. No, I don't know, she's at an age where now she's grabbing the controller, I have to watch her play. I don't like that because she was watching me play since she was 3, so it's a whole thing, guys. You get it, right? I know, I gotta get some co-op games going on, or I'm really...
My daughter Mario Wonder, she loves it.
Mario Wonder's great. We have that. She just likes to play Pokemon and Carmen Sandiego. She's been playing a lot. That's a good one. It's fun for kids. So anyway, I would say that I like a game versus a console necessarily. And lately I've been playing this terrible Stardew Valley ripoff called Fields of Mystria, which is basically Stardew, but a little bit of Animal Crossing, and
Okay.
it has a little bit of romance, and I'm just playing it, and I never get anywhere, and it's a good game to just waste time on. And I've been playing Avowed, but then of course now I want to play Assassin's Creed that just came out, because it's supposed to be amazing, and I really want to play Split Fiction with my friend, who's really screechy, but it will scream at each other and be fun. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I honestly don't have time to play the video games I want,
Mhm.
and my retirement dream is to just stream every day for about 3 hours.
Yeah.
So I really just get the good work done, you know?
I love Stardew Valley and Animal
Oh,
Crossing.
so
I feel like
good.
it's such good casual games that when
Yeah.
you just want to kind of be lazy but still game, you could kind of just tend to your farm and do a few things. Your
Yeah,
tasks.
yeah. Coral Island, I'm waiting for the multiplayer. Believe me, girl, I know all of them, okay? You can, I wanna romance a mermaid. Or a merman, okay? Either one. I'm good.
Merman, Dad, merman.
Yeah.
Board games. What's your favorite board game? What do you force your friends to play?
Well, I haven't played with my friends a lot since I gave birth, but my daughter is very good because I love board games, so I've been playing pretty advanced board games with her since she was like 5.
Nice.
So she, there was a game called 5 Tribes that she kicks my ass in. Splendor, Sagrada. We just got this game called Flamecraft, which is adorable with little dragons. Has anybody played that? It's so cute. It's like a little downtown shops owned by dragons, and it's a little resource management, but also it's just really, the art is so cute. And yeah, so, and I'm trying to get her to play D&D, but she wants to invent her own stuff. So we basically, we printed out a bunch of little pieces of paper, and we painted them, and then we put them on pieces of cardboard. So she's got her little figurines, and
That's so cute.
and we did a map. We did a map of her own house. I don't think we're actually gonna play the game, but we did all the setup work, okay? I'm hoping I can get her into real D&D soon, but you know, she just turned 8, so
She'll have a Kickstarter soon for her
No,
game.
she will not. She will never do anything public until she's 18. No phone, no nothing.
She's gonna have all these ideas.
Yeah, she can have an idea,
Yeah.
but she cannot be public with it.
I do feel like you would be such a great mom to have because you are so fun and lively. Do you read to your daughter and do different voices and characters
Oh yeah,
and you read
oh
stories?
yeah, no. She doesn't want, she only wants me to read to her because I do a lot of obnoxious voices. I do a very good bad French accent. Mama. No, I mean, I don't want her to be a performer. If she is, that's wonderful. I'll bless it. I don't want to push her into what I do. And I try not to show her that I do things. And I'm always like, Mama is a writer, and sometimes I act. And that's why I'm just, because you know, acting is a very disempowering, you know, you're always waiting on somebody else to choose you. And it's really hard to take, you know, your fortune in your hands. And I do. I create my own work all the time. But of course, it's funner to be on the big sets that somebody else has to choose you. But at least in the interim, I can be making my own stuff, which is fun. And I want her to always be empowered. Like she said the other day, I want to be a singer, Mama. And I'm like, okay. So when you're 10, you can take singing lessons, but you also have to take piano lessons because you have to make your own music because you can't be somebody else's tool. And then she told everybody in her class that. And
She's doling out advice to all the other students.
listen, the earlier you know, the better, right? Yeah, so I mean, I think the best thing as a parent you can do is just let your kid be who they need to be and not like try to influence them. And it's hard because we all have these ideas of what success is and what benchmarks are, and we have all these sometimes great, sometimes toxic things from our parents that we put on them unconsciously, you know, and the standards, and yeah, it's just, everything is a mind game and needs therapy, every person. But being a parent also appreciates that kindness and love are inherent in who we are, and passing that on is like the best thing you can do to bring the best out of people, right? And so that's kind of the key, what I've taken away from being a parent.
What are your favorite fandoms? What do you love?
Oh my gosh, I love D&D, I really do. I love video games in general. Like, I'm always, like, walk me into a tavern anywhere and I'm gonna be happy, even though I don't drink. I don't know why, I just like
It's a great environment though to observe.
a good Renaissance tavern, just get me in there. I know the reality was really bad and like people pooped in the woods, but you know, the romance of it is pretty great. I mean, I am, you know, I love, you know, Game of Thrones. There's some things I love, but I just love the zeitgeist of it even more than anything, and I tend to be a fangirl about books more than anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not really that impressed with other actors. I know what they do. But if I meet like an author I know, like I met George R.R. Martin, who I ended up working with. Actually, you guys are in Cleveland. My short film that he produced, it was adapted from a short story of his best friend, called The Ugly Chickens, is actually showing here at the Cleveland Film Festival April 6th, at 11 a.m. You can thank you. So if you guys want to go in person, I think it's the last film festival it's been in, so I don't know, and there's also online tickets you can get for very cheap. So if you guys want to watch it, it's very cool. It's a period piece. It's kind of serious, but it also has fantastical elements, of course. But he, at a Comic-Con party in San Diego, was like, oh, I'm a big fan of the Guild, and I literally almost dropped on the floor. Because I was like fangirling out. I was like, my heart was racing. I was like, oh my God. I don't know, for some reason, people who write books, and also I'm aspiring, and I'm trying to write a novel, but it's so hard, so it just makes me appreciate what novelists do more than anything. Actors, I'm like, whatever. You're pretty. I know you're big.
We all have difficulties in life. What did you have to face and actually overcome to get to where you are today?
Oh, I mean, the list, that could be 12 hours. What are you talking about? I think I was homeschooled until I was 15 or 16. Oh yeah, homeschool kids. Did you have a friend? I never did. You were the friend? Oh, thank you. I wish you had lived near me. Yeah, I was homeschooled in a way. My mom didn't really do the social thing very well, and she did a lot of other things well. I'm very talented in a lot of areas, but I didn't socialize, and like that, and my social anxiety and generalized anxiety was debilitating over the years. But you know, again, if I hadn't had that debilitating anxiety, then maybe I would have been a bigger actor earlier in my career, which means I never would have written the Guild, which means I never would have written a book, which means I never would be like kind of more in charge of my own career and making things only I could make. So, you know, I think adversity is our greatest challenge, but also the thing that pushes us to know ourselves better. Because if everything's easy, everybody's met that like really pretty girl, the jock, who's like, they're just breezing through life, right? And then they get to high school and they're peaked because they weren't challenged enough, right? I don't know, or anybody else. I don't mean to be, like, jocks can have problems too, but you know what I'm saying. Some people who don't have challenges, when they get a challenge, it's debilitating, or they're just not pushed to grow to where, and everyone's so interesting, but you kind of have to have adversity to push you inside to like realize what layers there are. Because otherwise, it's hard work, and you're not going to do the hard work unless you're forced to do it. So that's why I look back at my career and I'm like, yeah, you were always second choice, you always choked because you were too nervous. But at the end of the day, you had to just grasp on anything that you could control, and that was, becoming a writer. And I think I'm a better, overall, I'll be happier with my life in retrospect,
You can't grow if you don't have challenges in life.
Yeah, it's true.
Your
It's
failures
really true.
sometimes can help you learn how to not make that same mistake, how to progress forward.
Yeah, and know yourself
who
better.
you are today.
Yeah, I know. I went and ran a company for a long time, and I made amazing content. But the act of running a company and making other people stars, and in non-fiction ways, like it was interesting, but it wasn't fulfilling to me. And leaving my company for many reasons and becoming a mom, it was really hard. But I've gotten to the point where now I know myself really well, and I know the kind of projects that make me excited. I'm not doing things to impress any people anymore, and I'm not doing things because I feel like I have to. I am valuing myself more, and I think that's, part of the anxiety is that I can't be everything to everybody, and realizing, no, it's okay not to be that, has been a big journey for me, and I think I'm a little stabler now.
Sometimes unstable's fun. What's the best advice someone has given to you, and what's advice that you give to others?
Yeah, actually, a girl came up and was like, how do I be an actor? And I was like, I want to be an actor. I'm like, that's great. You should have a dream. You should have that idea. Make sure that you love the act of acting rather than wanting to be famous. I got really irritated in my kid, and I didn't show her that. She's like, I want to be a famous singer. I'm like, do you like singing? Or do you just want to be famous? Because that's really sad, because fame, you cannot control fame, right? And chasing fame makes you want to do things that other people do to get famous. And that means you're running away from what you only could do in this world, right? genuine people who have fame, who last a long time, are the people who got famous because they were doing what they organically loved, and they were new, and they were unique, and they defined a space. And that kind of voice and art, whatever format it is, can't be found if you're trying to copy other people, right? And so that's what I think my advice was like. Make sure you know what you love and act. You love acting. You like the act of being on stage or being in front of the camera and figuring out who a character is. And then I gave another girl advice, like, study other things too, I don't know anybody who got a job because they have a theater degree unless they went to Juilliard. Other than that, I know people who got jobs because they were a physician for a while, or they worked at their dad's, auto mechanic. I know people, it's all their extra, things they do that they bring to the table that make them unique, that get them the job over another person who only may have gone and done theater their whole life. So, the more multifaceted you are, the better you are and more interesting you are as an artist. And so I think early in my career when I moved to Hollywood, they were like, don't abandon your violin, that'll make you different, figure out how to use that in your daily life. And I was like, meh. And I didn't practice it for years, and I kind of, I think I sold myself short, because I threw what was special about me away to try to chase what I thought other people wanted, and that was like, it was a misstep, and that's okay. I know that now, but I could definitely give that advice and pay it forward, because you don't stand out if you're like everybody else.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like a lot of the work that you have done has represented yourself so well.
Oh, thank you.
Has anybody ever come to you with a project that you go, that doesn't fit me and my brand? And
Oh, for sure. Netflix wanted me to do this werewolf thing where I got real naked, and I was like, I don't know. And like part of me kind of regrets it because I did 3 years of breastfeeding, and I'm like, well, that would have been good to preserve that. But at the end of the day, I didn't feel like that was is what I wanted to portray, I didn't want that gif on the internet with jiggle, 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 whatever it was. Yeah. And then I have been offered like other series when I was really popular that were just like straight crime series. I'm like, there's no alien here. There's no vampire. I can't do this job every day. I would not like to do this for 5 years, right? And so, I probably narrowed my career a little bit too much for my own good, quote unquote, because I have very strong opinions of what I enjoy doing. But at the end of the day, I know I can fill my time with my little projects, even if it's just my podcast or my newsletter or whatever. And yes, I'm not going to be like as rich and famous as other people, but I know that I'm happy, and I know that when I get my butt in gear, I write things that I wouldn't have time to do if I was on a series being miserable and rich. Now, I'm not going to say money's not great, but it is, at the end of the day, these are the time, the minutes of your life, right? And like you want to spend them on things that you feel like, I feel meaning in this, right? And when somebody comes up to me and it's like, hey, I came out because of you or your character, hey, I became a computer programmer, hey, I told, my friend that I was a gamer because I was ashamed of it, like all of those things, I've heard so many wonderful stories, and it just makes you realize that art really, and representation as well, really means something to a lot of people, and that you can be bigger than yourself, and I don't know, that's a real gift. It's a real gift.
Yeah, I agree. I have a few fan-submitted questions, if you don't mind.
Yeah, do it.
Katie out in Denver, Colorado said, you've played so many geek culture icons, from The Guild to Supernatural to Critical Role. Which character do you feel most connected to, and why? And is there a character you are most like?
Oh, wow. That's hard because, connected to, I try to feel connected to everybody, or you're not going to be a good actor, right? So I felt connected to everybody. I think being Charlie made me a stronger person, because in reality, when I wrote The Guild, I was that's autobiographical. Codex was riddled with anxiety. She had so many social issues. She had, problems in her life. She was addicted to this game, and she was kind of self-destructive in a way, right? And she was focusing on, putting her energy in other people instead of herself. And I think the journey of the 6 seasons of The Guild was like her getting to the point where she's like, I'm better because of my friends, and I'm stronger, and I can stand on my own 2 feet because of the help of them, right? And so that was kind of the journey of me as well, right? So through art, I became a better person, and through Charlie, I became a stronger person, and and magicians, like, we sold out of that picture, but my boobs are huge in that because I was nursing, and I have that preserved. I was like the oldest cast member, and I felt mature for the first time. I was like, this is cool. I feel powerful. So all of those are kind of, you know, I'm about to start writing the Guild reunion movie, and like, it's gonna be 20 years, you know, it'll be a 20-year anniversary in 2027, like July of it, and I wanted the movie out by then, and I'm like, wow, we left our story 10 years ago. Where have these characters been? How far have they come? And I'm kind of excited to explore that. So yeah, it's hopefully, ideally as an artist, you're connected to each character organically, but of course Codex is my self-expression. So I would say that I'm closest to her as a person, because I'm sure some of my things that I've learned in the last 10 years will go into Codex's journey for the next movie. Or maybe not. I gotta get off my ass and see.
Megan in Cleveland wants to know, The Guild was a groundbreaking web series for gaming culture. Looking back, what are you most proud of about it?
I am most proud of the fact that I did it myself. I was so scared to do that show, you guys. I had just written the script, and I was part of this women's group, and we met every week and just kind of encouraged each other to keep going, because it's hard here in Hollywood. And the other director and the producer were like, let's just shoot this. Let's just shoot it. I was like, you could do that? You know, I really was terrified. But when I finally was like, hey, this isn't happening unless you do it, I was so invigorated. And when I saw those first comments on the, and this was like when YouTube first started, when I, after like 8 years of being rejected by Hollywood for what I looked like and who I was, finally saw a comment like, this is the best thing I've ever seen, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't need to care about. I don't need to care about these people who don't get me. That's okay. Right now, Hollywood doesn't get me. They'll never get me. That's okay. You know, the wonderful roles that I've had on Eureka, Magicians, and Supernatural, they were all written for me by the writers. And that's gonna be the only way I work. I think, you know, because Hollywood as an institution, what they encourage, the kind of roles that they make as an aggregate aren't really gonna fit me, and that's okay. I can't expect them to change who they are for me. I just can't change myself for them either. And so the wonderful part is that, you know, I get to tell these stories, however small. You know, I did a Third Eye, which was a wonderful Audible series. Thank you for listening. You know, it's wonderful, and like these are the stories I get to tell. The wonderful part about being alive right now as a creator is that there's so many ways to tell stories and get your voice out there. You don't have to go through the middleman. You can go around them and discover, you know, success in just reaching audience. And so, yeah, I mean, I feel like I just feel blessed. I feel blessed to have those avenues open to me.
I do love the internet has given us that capability of finding this kind of a community who loves what you do, that is outside of the box, that is not what they quote unquote the normal, the everyday. We get to kind of explore something new with you.
I mean, the internet is evil.
To an extent, yes.
In that it allows people to congregate who have voices that are outside the norm and feel normalized in their ideas that are shunned by society. It has a superpower in that people's voice, you know, it's literally the definition of what our society is going through right now, and that people are finding community and feeling empowered by it, and putting good into the world, and doing the same thing and putting bad into the world, in my opinion, right? And so, you know, it's something that we just have to deal with, you know, that technology every so often will introduce something to us as a species, and we have to learn how to deal with it and renormalize. And I truly believe that we're still in an upheaval. In fact, I think it's the peak upheaval of what we're involved in right now. And, you know, we'll all see each other through and getting our voices out of our bubble and trying to spread especially the positive parts of what we find. Like everyone in this room, different backgrounds, different, you know, beliefs, but we're all kind of unified in what we love here, and that's how the world should be. We should be bringing our message of love and acceptance and taking it out to the world. And, you know, that's where the superpower, I think, of the internet comes in.
Oh, I agree. Come into these cons, you get to see that.
I see it every day. I see it every day, and it's so wonderful, especially the different kinds of people and the different ages. I see, like, I started doing cons with Buffy. That's almost, you know, 2007 or 2006 was my first con. And so seeing the difference in the kinds of people who are here and the young, you know, it's just very inspiring. And it just goes to show we don't have that much different between us, right? We just have to find that thing that unifies us, what's really important to us. And that's what I think cons do for me.
Yeah, I love that. Ryan from Elyria asks, you've been such a strong advocate for nerd culture and gaming. How do you think the landscape has changed since you started?
I mean, it's so much more just rich in every way, right? We have so many more shows to love. We have so many more interests. If I meet somebody under 16, it's going to be anime all the way. That's not something I'm really well versed in, but I'm hoping through my child, I'm going to get, through One Piece at some point. And it's also just, again, it's the diversity. The number of women who are into these things is so cool, and I feel like I don't feel as lonely, and they say they don't feel as lonely, but also we're just enjoying a board game together. Again, we don't have that many differences, and that's what, the core of the guild is that these people knew each other from their voices only, right? And they get together and they're like all different ages, ethnicities, backgrounds, sensibilities, and yet this has brought them together because they didn't use this preconceived notion of what someone looked like to eliminate them as being a friend. And I think that's what's kind of cool in the core values of the guild. And I think fandom and nerddom and geekdom is kind of like that, right? We're all just being drawn together because we love something and we believe in something. And I mean, I think that, if you really narrow down what you believe in this world and you get out there and connect with other people you believe in, you can be really strong. That's how revolutions start, right? The nerd revolution is here, y'all.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere, I'll tell you what. Nope. Alex in Toronto wants to know, as someone who's been a huge part of the gaming community, what's your all-time favorite video game?
I mean, it's probably, okay, why would I pick one? You're so stupid, person. I'm sorry. I would say Mass Effect 2 for the writing, Skyrim for the gameplay, WoW for the community building, and Assassin's Creed Odyssey for the story. Those are my favorite. And Stardew Valley for turnips. That's 5, okay? Top 5. You're not getting less than that, because they're all different, okay? Bejeweled is great too. That's my phone,
I'm an indecisive person, so I would have a long
I'm
list.
very decisive right now.
No, I love that you categorize that too.
Yeah.
Sammy from Toledo says your book, Embrace Your Weird, is all about creativity and self-expression. What's one piece of advice you'd give to someone struggling to find their creative voice?
Oh, wow. My best advice is to treat yourself like homework. Because I think, I just gave a speech on this, and I won't go into it, but there's a brilliant woman named Alice Miller, and if you go to therapy, and you were in AP biology probably, there's a book you should probably read. It's called The Trauma of the Gifted Child. And it's all about how, we got some nods in here, yeah. And it's all about how, the way we parent children and the way gifted children are treated kind of sets them up for self-esteem and failure issues later in their life. It's wonderful. I highly recommend it. And she also was, she's from Germany, and the main emphasis that she did in her research is about pre-World War II parenting styles and how they were so harsh and so separated child from who they were. And she has a wonderful quote about how the one unifying thing about people becoming a Nazi in Nazi Germany was that it wasn't background, it wasn't socioeconomic, it wasn't anything except people not being truly connected to their true self and knowing what really made them happy. And so it was just and it really just struck me in a way, because when people ask me, how do I become creative? How do I become happier in general? You have to look inward and know who you are. Underneath all the stuff that has been imposed on us by society, by our parents, expectations, self-imposed, things, it's all about clearing out that junk. It's kind of like you get a beautiful piece of furniture and it's got all this crap on it, like shellac, other people have put it on there, and you're just trying to scrape it away to see what is under there. And so that's almost our life journey. Whether we had great parents or bad parents, or parents who tried hard but screwed us up, listen, I'm doing it to my kid right now. We all do it. We are all flawed human beings, and we just do our best. And part of us, in realizing who we are, it's a lot of work. And you got to get rid of all those layers of things that are between us and what we genuinely want. And it could be a completely different world for you, right? You don't know. I based a lot of my life on impressing people and wanting to do things that were dazzling and getting A's and all this stuff. And you know, I'm not saying I'm ashamed of that, but I'm not sure that I was organically following a path of what would have made me happy or made me a more developed person in the way that I would be happier. You know what I'm saying? And or stable or more in touch with myself. And I think getting in touch with yourself is the most important thing with creativity, because then you're going to create things that only you can create, that have meaning to you, but also are important to put out to the world. So yeah, I mean, I know it's not like go to therapy. Like my book is designed to sort of dig, but you know, don't hesitate to go talk it out with somebody, because you never know what you're going to discover about your childhood that is literally affecting you today. Parenting my daughter, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened when I was a kid, or that happened as a kid. And like parenting her made me a better parent to myself, which made me kind of realize, oh, these are the things that I'm not treating myself right in a way to bring out the best in me. And only in caring for her was I able to even see that.
Yeah, that's cool. Kaylee out in Bedford said, if you could guest star in any current sci-fi or fantasy show, which one would you love to be in? God.
Can we talk about Star Trek Academy not having me on their first season?
Uh-huh.
I mean, New Worlds. I mean, listen, Star Wars. Any star. My dreams are Star Wars, Star Trek. Okay. I want to hold a lightsaber, and I want to be in a unitard. All these things that happen in my life. I don't know what to tell you. It's my dream. But you know, we might not. I can only just put it out there. And I could dream, and Fallout would be amazing. So I don't want to spoil anything, but I was in Fallout New Vegas, and I played a girl named Veronica, and she was an amazing character, and it was actually 20 years ago, and that's when the show is set, and there's certain reasons why maybe New Vegas might happen, and so I did everything I could to try to get on the show. I called the creator of Fallout. I called Amazon. I called any writer I knew that knew a writer on the staff. I'm like, hey, listen, just a cameo. Didn't work. Usually Felecia being obnoxious and persistent works. It did not work this time, and I'm sad, but I'll live. Maybe next season. Who knows? I'll get on the phone again.
Before I let you go, can we do a quick little, which would you prefer?
Yeah,
Little
let's
this
do
or
it.
that?
Yeah.
Do you like the heat in the house at 68 or 72? Do you like it a little warmer or a little colder?
Oh, I'm a 68. But I sleep in sort of a hyperbaric chamber of earplugs, eye mask, body pillow, heavy body pillow, and heavy blanket on me. I'm literally in a cocoon when I sleep. So I can't have it too hot or I'll be sweaty.
Yeah. You leave an imprint in your bed. Toilet paper, does it go over the top?
Over.
Or does it go under?
No, you're disgusting if you go under.
I don't admit that. I see that at my friend's house.
What in the world?
Like that.
What in the
How
world?
do you even grab it if it's underneath? You gotta find
You're
it.
a bad person.
If you were on the show Fear Factor, would you rather perform a heights stunt or would you rather eat something gross?
Well, I've never seen this show because I hate
Fear
that
Factor
show. I
with
mean,
Joe
the idea.
Rogan back in the day.
Joe Rogan,
They
anything
would
with Joe
do-
Rogan, go to hell.
So are you an adrenaline junkie or would you just eat something gross?
I would do neither. Get me off the show. I mean, what is the adrenaline? Is it a height thing? Because I have a fearful of heights, but I'll do.
Yeah?
So I can't do anything high. That would be.
You don't do rides?
No, why would I do that?
I do not do rides.
No, I'm an old lady. I'm in bed by 9:30. That's why I have good skin in my 40s, okay? Indoor kids look great. They look better age, right? Thank you. All of us, though. Indoor kids, okay?
Are you a breakfast or dinner girl?
Breakfast. I don't even make dinner half the time.
Cabin in the woods or cabana by the pool?
I don't. Oh God, this is bad. Can I have a cabana on a rocky beach that I don't ever have to go out on?
It's your world.
That's my world. That's my dream. I really like. I like those Northern California beach things, but nobody wants to be there because there's no sand, which is great with me. I just want to see waves crashing, hear them, but not be exposed to the elements.
AI, yay or nay?
God damn it! Please don't.
Dinner at your favorite restaurant or takeout at home?
Again, I don't have dinner. I have acid reflux issues because I'm 89 inside. So I did have a lovely dinner last night with some of the Supernatural cast, and I have to say, you guys have been so amazing because I don't think we've ever been like signing together this many of us at once, and that group photo, I like almost teared up just seeing all of us in one place. It's like the first time since being on set, and it's just so wonderful. So I will say takeout because my DoorDash bill is my #1 expense. Every month. I mean, I'm sorry.
That's great. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Stop it.
Hard one. The hard one.
You can't make me.
You said lightsaber earlier, so I'm going Star Wars. Novel?
Wait, you decided for me?
Novel or comic book?
I love novels. I read. This is really bad to admit. I don't know. Did anybody know that I did a romance book club 10 years ago called Vaginal Fantasy? Yeah, I was so before the time, right? I'm always 10 years too soon to cash in on anything I do. I'll just be admitted. No, we had a wonderful community, and we did this book club for 5 years, and I had to stop because I collapsed. Well, it was fun. But right now, I read 3 lit RPG books a week, and I'm not even kidding. I know Hell. The one I just read was Hell level difficulty tutorial, and it's the first 40 pages of the first book is awful. And I was just this is so badly written, and now it's my favorite series 5 books in, because most of the people who write these are just gaming fans, and they start writing, and they just start writing, and they've never written before. And so the first half of most book 1s are not that great, but then they get their stride, and they get better and better and better, and they always have 6 books in the series. And anyway, if you're gonna try something in the genre, lit RPG is basically, it's a Dungeons and Dragons in novel form. Or you're in a WoW in novel form. So I would try Dungeon Crawler Carl, which is the best, right? It's so funny. He has a sidekick cat. It's just amazing. It's just such good writing. It's definitely the highlight of it. But anyway, that's my hobby now. So in 10 years, you guys will all be reading it, I promise. But I'll have moved on by then. Don't you worry. Because Felecia Day can't concentrate on anything for more than 5 years. Okay?
Well, now we know what we're going to go by right after this. We're all going to be reading that.
Well, everybody's reading Fourth Wing and all that stuff, right? And believe me, Zayden, get me in bed with him. But
We'll put it out
that
there
guy's
for
so hot, right? And he's I don't know, I feel kind of pervy because he's 23, but it's fine. Listen, it's
Age is
female
just a
fantasy.
number.
It's fine. Listen, it's a book. I can have a book crush. I had a crush on Thane from Mass Effect 2. Literally, I had a crush on that guy. In 3, when they, spoiler alert, killed him off, I tried to get his son, and when they wouldn't let me, I quit the game. And I never played it again. I never finished Mass Effect 3, okay? I'm sorry, but you can't take away my lizard love.
We never want to quit you. I mean, we could probably listen to you for all day long.
Oh, you need to get me off the stage.
So,
I'm sorry.
We have to send her away. But
No,
it's
that's
so
okay.
lovely sitting with you.
Thank you.
I hope you guys had a great time here.